The evening's chill, a lingering dampness from the road, finally yields to the inviting warmth that spills from the open door of this moonlit tavern, drawing you weary travelers inward from the fading light and the quiet hum of the countryside. Here, the very air breathes of seasoned timber and sweet wood smoke, a comforting embrace that seems to promise respite the moment you step across the threshold. Lanterns, their polished glass gleaming like captured starlight, cast soft golden pools of light that dance across the ancient walls, illuminating faces both familiar and new, all seeking the same simple solace that only a crackling hearth can offer. Shaking off the last remnants of the night's cool touch, your cloaks are hung near the fire, allowing the gentle heat to slowly seep into your bones, easing the fatigue of your journey. The soft murmur of quiet conversation, the occasional clink of an earthenware cup, and the rhythmic snap and hiss of burning logs create a comforting symphony, a sanctuary where the world's anxieties can, for a time, be set aside. A low voice, as warm and rich as the brew on the counter, bids you welcome, inviting you to settle into a comfortable chair, to stretch out your tired limbs, and to let the gentle atmosphere wash over you, preparing your spirit for the quiet wonders that await. For it is a cherished custom in these lands, one deeply woven into the fabric of hospitality, that a traveler's comfort and peace of mind are paramount, a sacred trust extended without question, a moment of stillness and quiet contemplation offered before the road calls again. Indeed, traditional Japanese hospitality often values this very essence of quiet contemplation, a space where the mind can truly rest and prepare for deeper understanding. Tonight, as the embers pulse with their rhythmic beat, we shall embark on a journey not across physical lands, but into the ancient heart of Japan, into a realm where the ordinary often intertwines with the extraordinary, where spirits and humans walk paths that sometimes converge in unexpected ways. We will speak of tales that stir the heart with enchantment and wonder, of cunning intellect and surprising benevolence, stories that have lingered like the scent of cypress wood in ancient shrines for generations. Moonlit Tavern welcomes weary travelers. There is always a chair by the hearth. So lean back, let the soothing warmth embrace you, and allow your thoughts to drift beyond these walls, to a land steeped in magic and folklore, where the whisper of ancient spirits still carries on the wind, waiting to unfold before your very ears. A gentle tale of Kitsune, the shape-shifting fox spirits, offered for comfort and quiet wonder before your journey continues in the morning light. As the embers glow and the night outside deepens, drawing close around our warm haven, we journey eastward across the vast moonlit waters to a land where ancient whispers still dance on the breeze. Japan, a realm steeped in traditions as old as the mountains themselves, where the spirit of the fox holds a place of profound mystique. It is here, in the heart of this enduring landscape, that we find ourselves listening to the soft, rustling tales of the Kitsune, the fascinating fox spirits whose very presence has for centuries shaped countless stories that embody both profound wisdom and delightful mischief. Local records, alongside early ethnographies, note the fox's significant role in Japanese folklore dating back to the earliest recorded eras, often appearing in the Nihon Shoki and other ancient texts, long before the term yokai became widespread. In Shinto, Japan's indigenous spiritual tradition, the fox, or kitsune, is not merely an animal, but a revered entity, a sacred messenger, particularly associated with Inari Okami, the deity of rice, sake, and prosperity, guarding granaries and fields, symbols of life itself.
These are not the simple rust-colored creatures that dart through our own forests, mind you. No, these are beings of remarkable intelligence, of grace that seems to shimmer in the moonlight, possessing a magical power to weave illusions and, most astonishingly, to take on human form, sometimes for good, sometimes with mischievous intent. The tales spun around the hearth often speak of their cunning, how a clever kitsune might trick a proud samurai or a greedy merchant. But just as frequently, they tell of deep, abiding love, where a fox spirit, disguised as a beautiful woman or a handsome man, falls in love with a mortal, forging bonds that transcend the veil between worlds. Such is the rich tapestry woven by these enigmatic beings, whose ancient origins are deeply rooted in the very soul of Japan, their legends unfolding like petals under a full moon, inviting us to wonder if these nine-tailed spirits still roam the misty mountains and moonlit shrines, ever watchful, ever shape-shifting, ever present in the heart of the Japanese landscape. As the lantern light softly plays across the old timber of our tavern, casting long, dancing shadows, let us turn our gaze to the very beginnings of these captivating tales, sifting through the venerable texts where the spirit of the fox first truly began to shimmer into recorded legend. Before the term yokai, those enigmatic apparitions and spirits of Japanese folklore became a common descriptor for such wondrous phenomena, the tales of the kitsune were already being penned, preserving their early mystical reputation. It is in the ancient chronicles, the courtly histories, and the sprawling collections of old narratives that we first encounter these cunning, shape-shifting foxes, emerging from the mists of oral tradition onto the permanent pages of history. For instance, scholarly examination of texts like the Nihon Yoiki, a collection of Buddhist miracle stories from the early 9th century, offers some of the earliest written accounts of foxes exhibiting supernatural powers, including their ability to transform into human guise and their deep understanding of human affairs. These weren't simply wild creatures, you see, but beings imbued with an almost supernatural intellect, often depicted as both benefactors and tricksters. Later, the sprawling Konjaku Monogatari Shu, a monumental collection of tales compiled in the 12th century, further cemented the kitsune's place in the Japanese imagination, detailing a myriad of their exploits, from romantic entanglements with unwitting humans to elaborate deceptions that bewildered entire villages. These foundational narratives did more than just recount strange occurrences. They meticulously established the very essence of kitsune lore, their profound longevity, their increasing power with age, often marked by the growth of additional tales, their mastery of illusion, and their poignant, sometimes tragic, connections to humanity. Indeed, folklorists and historians, delving into these revered archives and early literary works, continue to trace how these initial flickering mentions coalesced into the rich, intricate tapestry of kitsune legends we cherish today, proving that long before they became the celebrated figures of popular myth, their mystical reputation was diligently etched into the very fabric of Japan's written heritage, forming the bedrock upon which centuries of stories would be built. As the fire crackles, painting shifting patterns on the tavern walls, our minds drift further into the enigmatic world of the kitsune, those Japanese fox spirits whose very essence is woven from cunning, grace, and a potent, otherworldly magic. What truly sets these creatures apart, beyond their earthly counterparts, are their unique characteristics, a fabled intelligence that often rivals, or even surpasses, that of humans, and an array of extraordinary magical abilities that grow more profound with each passing century of their lives. These aren't merely clever animals. They are spiritual entities, born of ancient folklore and imbued with powers that defy mortal understanding. One of their most renowned gifts, a hallmark of their mystique, is the art of shapeshifting, allowing them to assume flawless human forms, often of captivating beauty, or even to mimic specific individuals with uncanny precision, making them both formidable tricksters and, at times, devoted companions. But their magical prowess extends far beyond mere disguise. They are said to be masters of illusion, capable of conjuring phantom landscapes, creating convincing mirages, or even leading travelers astray with flickering foxfires, Kitsune that dance in the night, luring the unwary deeper into the woods. These ethereal lights, often seen near shrines or in the quiet hours after dusk, are whispered to be manifestations of their spiritual energy, their very breath glowing in the darkness. Furthermore, the tales consistently speak of a remarkable correlation. A kitsune's power, wisdom, and spiritual advancement are often visibly marked by the number of their tails. A young kitsune might possess a single tail, but as centuries pass and their magical abilities deepen, they are said to grow more, eventually culminating in the magnificent 9-tailed fox, a creature of immense power and profound wisdom, whose fur might turn silver or gold, almost glowing under the moon. This growth, this visual testament to their ancient existence and accrued magic, hints at a deep understanding of the world, a potent, ancient magic that flows through their very being, marking them as beings to be both revered and, perhaps, approached with a quiet respect, for their capabilities are truly boundless in the shadowed corners of Japan's enduring lore.
As the logs settle deeper into the hearth, sending a shower of sparks upwards, let us shift our gaze from the raw magic of the kitsune to a connection far more profound, one woven deeply into the spiritual heart of Japan. The revered bond between these mystical fox spirits and Inari Okami, the Shinto deity of rice, sake, prosperity, and indeed all worldly sustenance. This isn't merely a casual association, it is a sacred symbiosis, placing the kitsune firmly within the divine hierarchy as messengers and guardians of the divine. Across the myriad of Shinto shrines that dot the Japanese landscape, from bustling city corners to tranquil mountain retreats, one cannot help but notice the ubiquitous presence of stone fox statues, often adorned with red votive bibs, standing sentinel at torii gates or flanking the main shrine buildings. These aren't representations of ordinary foxes. They are the Inari Kitsune, believed to be the chosen retainers and envoys of Inari Okami, ferrying prayers and blessings between the human and divine realms. Anthropological studies and historical accounts from various Shinto shrine archives meticulously detail this enduring reverence, highlighting how offerings of aburage, fried tofu, a favored food of foxes, are still reverently placed at these shrines, a testament to the belief that by appeasing the kitsune, one secures the favor of Inari themselves. The symbolism is rich. Inari, as the deity of rice, directly connects to the very foundation of life and prosperity in agrarian Japan, and the fox, as its loyal messenger, becomes intrinsically linked to bountiful harvests and good fortune. People whisper that a truly potent kitsune, one with many tails, might even serve Inari directly, their 9 ethereal tails swirling like mist around the moonlit shrines, embodying wisdom accrued over centuries. While some tales speak of trickster foxes, the Inari Kitsune are almost universally benevolent, their presence a promise of blessings, guarding fields and homes, ensuring the steady flow of life's necessities.
Their vigilance ensures the balance, mediating between the tangible world of human endeavor and the unseen realm of spiritual power. To visit an Inari shrine, then, is to step into a space where the ancient spirits of the foxes are not just remembered, but felt. Their watchful eyes, albeit in stone, a silent, comforting assurance that the sacred messengers continue their timeless vigil, eternally bound to the benevolent spirit of prosperity.
As the lantern light flickers softly, illuminating the ancient timber of this tavern, let us deepen our understanding of the Kitsune, moving beyond their role as mere messengers of Inari Okami to explore the intricate layers of fox symbolism woven throughout the very fabric of Shinto traditions. It is within this indigenous spiritual path of Japan that the fox, so often seen darting through twilight forests, transcends its earthly form, becoming a profound emblem of the delicate balance between the wild and the sacred, truly embodying both a natural and a supernatural phenomenon. For the Shinto practitioner, the world is alive with kami, divine spirits, residing in natural elements, trees, rocks, waterfalls, and indeed in certain animals. The fox, with its keen intellect, elusive nature, and undeniable connection to the liminal spaces between human habitation and untamed wilderness, naturally became one such creature imbued with spiritual significance. Its presence, whether glimpsed as a fleeting shadow or encountered in an ancient tale, is understood not as an ordinary animalistic event, but as a subtle whisper from the unseen realm, a signifier of forces beyond human comprehension. This reverence is deeply rooted in the Shinto belief system itself. As ethnographers and religious scholars have often noted, Shintoism fundamentally values a harmonious connection with nature, seeing the divine reflected in every aspect of the natural world. Thus, the fox, dwelling at the edges of human settlement, yet embodying the untamed spirit of the mountains and forests, serves as a bridge, a living paradox that connects the ordered world of humanity with the unpredictable, powerful forces of nature. The tales often depict them as cunning, yet wise, mischievous, yet capable of profound loyalty, mirroring the dualities inherent in nature itself. They remind us that even in the quietest grove or by the oldest shrine, the wild spirits are ever present, watchful, and deeply entwined with the blessings and challenges of human life, continually inviting us to remember that the sacred is not something distant, but intimately woven into the very fabric of the world around us, visible in the rustle of leaves, the gleam of moonlight, and the silent, knowing gaze of a fox at dusk. Among the ancient whispers of Japan, where the moon casts long shadows over quiet shrines and the scent of wood smoke mingles with the damp earth, our understanding of the Kitsune often first sparks with tales not of mischief, but of remarkable, unexpected generosity. It is in these cherished fireside recountings that we first glimpse the softer heart said to beat within these elusive fox spirits, a heart capable of profound gratitude and a quiet desire to mend the imbalances of the world. Picture a lone traveler, perhaps a weary merchant, navigating a rain-slicked mountain path, his supplies dwindling, his spirit low, when he encounters a small fox trapped beneath a fallen branch, its cries almost swallowed by the wind. Driven by a simple human kindness, the traveler pauses his arduous journey, expending precious strength to free the creature, never expecting recompense. Yet, the old tales insist it is often in such moments, when no reward is sought, that the kitsune's subtle hand begins to move.
Weeks later, that same merchant might find an unexpected vein of rich ore in his mine, or discover a rare silk scroll amongst his wares that fetches an exorbitant price. A twist of fortune so profound, so precisely timed, it could only be attributed to a grateful spirit's unseen favor. Local records, or so ethnographers have noted, occasionally speak of families saved from ruin by a sudden, inexplicable harvest of abundant rice, or the timely discovery of a lost family heirloom just when hope seemed gone. Such occurrences, people whisper, are the quiet blessings of a kitsune, remembering a kindness. These stories often reveal the fox as a keen observer of human hearts, capable of discerning true compassion from mere performative gestures. They say a kitsune might linger on the periphery of a village, a silent, knowing presence, before choosing to bestow its gifts upon a household known for its genuine generosity towards others, or its unwavering spirit in the face of hardship. It's a subtle dance, this exchange between human and spirit, a whisper of good fortune here, a timely warning there, never a grand, overt display, but a gentle nudge of fate, a quiet righting of wrongs, proving that even among the tricksters and shapeshifters of folklore, there resides a profound capacity for benevolence. And so, under the soft glow of a tavern lamp, we find solace in these narratives, for they remind us that the unseen world, too, can hold a deep appreciation for the simple act of human kindness, responding in ways both mysterious and wonderfully kind, like a distant, ethereal glow from a moonlit shrine, promising hope in the dark.
Beneath the watchful gaze of the moon, which often served as the only lantern in the deep country, we often hear tale of a simple farmer named Kenshin, whose fields, though tilled with relentless effort, yielded only enough to sustain his humble household, leaving little more than worn hands and weary bones. His life was a testament to quiet struggle, a constant dance with the soil in the capricious weather. Yet within his heart resided a profound, unshakable kindness, a quality the unseen world, it is said, keenly observes. One biting winter's eve, as the last embers flickered in his hearth and the wind howled like a hungry spirit around his small dwelling, Kenshin heard a faint scratching at his door. Hesitantly, he opened it to find a small shivering fox, its fur matted with snow, one leg clearly injured. Without a moment's thought for his own dwindling stores, Kenshin brought the creature inside, warming it by the fire and carefully bandaging its tiny leg with strips of old cloth, sharing a portion of his own meager gruel. For several days the fox remained, a silent, watchful presence, before vanishing back into the snow-laden woods, leaving behind only a faint, earthy scent. The following spring, a subtle change began to manifest in Kenshin's fields. His rice paddies, usually productive but never extraordinary, seemed to shimmer with an unusual vigor. The seedlings took root with remarkable tenacity, and the young shoots grew taller, greener, and more resilient than any he had ever cultivated. The pestilence that often plagued neighboring farms seemed to bypass his land entirely. And when harvest season arrived, Kenshin found himself standing amidst a bounty so vast, so miraculous, it stretched beyond his wildest dreams. A thousandfold harvest, people whispered, a gift from the very spirits of the land. His storage sheds, once barely half filled, now overflowed with grain, enough to feed his family for years and even to share generously with his less fortunate neighbors. This prosperity, granted not through ambition or cunning, but through a simple, genuine act of selfless compassion, transformed his life, lifting the veil of scarcity that had long shadowed his days. The old texts, those deep dives into folklore, often note how such quiet blessings are attributed to the Kitsune, who, once shown a true kindness, are said to possess the power to influence the very earth, bringing forth abundance where there was once only toil. It is a comforting thought, is it not, that such quiet moments of generosity, often overlooked in the rush of life, can bloom into a prosperity so profound, whispering promises from the spirit world itself, flourishing unseen like the most delicate of blossoms. Beneath the watchful gaze of the moon, which often served as the only lantern in the deep country, we often hear tell of a simple farmer named Kenshin, whose fields, though tilled with relentless effort, yielded only enough to sustain his humble household, leaving little more than worn hands and weary bones. His life was a testament to quiet struggle, a constant dance with the soil and the capricious weather. Yet within his heart resided a profound, unshakable kindness, a quality the unseen world, it is said, keenly observes. One biting winter's eve, as the last embers flickered in his hearth and the wind howled like a hungry spirit around his small dwelling, Kenshin heard a faint scratching at his door. Hesitantly, he opened it to find a small, shivering fox, its fur matted with snow, one leg clearly injured. Without a moment's thought for his own dwindling stores, Kenshin brought the creature inside, warming it by the fire and carefully bandaging its tiny leg with strips of old cloth, sharing a portion of his own meager gruel. For several days, the fox remained, a silent, watchful presence, before vanishing back into the snow-laden woods, leaving behind only a faint, earthy scent. The following spring, a subtle change began to manifest in Kenshin's fields. His rice paddies, usually productive but never extraordinary, seemed to shimmer with an unusual vigor. The seedlings took root with remarkable tenacity, and the young shoots grew taller, greener, and more resilient than any he had ever cultivated. The pestilence that often plagued neighboring farms seemed to bypass his land entirely, and when harvest season arrived, Kenshin found himself standing amidst a bounty so vast, so miraculous, it stretched beyond his wildest dreams. A 1,000-fold harvest, people whispered, a gift from the very spirits of the land. His storage sheds, once barely half-filled, now overflowed with grain, enough to feed his family for years, and even to share generously with his less fortunate neighbors. This prosperity, granted not through ambition or cunning, but through a simple, genuine act of selfless compassion, transformed his life, lifting the veil of scarcity that had long shadowed his days. The old texts, those deep dives into folklore, often note how such quiet blessings are attributed to the Kitsune, who, once shown a true kindness, are said to possess the power to influence the very earth, bringing forth abundance where there was once only toil. It is a comforting thought, is it not, that such quiet moments of generosity, often overlooked in the rush of life, can bloom into a prosperity so profound, whispering promises of gratitude from the spirit world itself, flourishing unseen like the most delicate of blossoms.
As the night deepens and the last embers in the hearth settle into a gentle glow, our thoughts often turn to those enigmatic lights that dance in the distant forests and across moonlit fields. The mysterious Kitsune bee, or foxfire, a phenomenon whispered about in hushed tones for centuries. These are not the harsh, blinding flames of a bonfire, but rather soft, ethereal gleams, sometimes flickering like distant lanterns, other times drifting like wisps of foxglove pollen carried on the evening breeze. It is said that these lights are conjured by the Kitsune themselves, a visible manifestation of their spiritual energy. And while they can at times be mischievous,
leading travelers astray into bogs or tangles of bamboo. There are also countless tales where the kitsune bee acts as a gentle guiding hand, a beacon in the darkest hour. Imagine a lone wanderer lost in a dense mountain pass, the familiar paths obscured by an unexpected fog, the stars hidden behind a shroud of cloud, despair beginning to chill his bones more deeply than the night air itself. Just when all hope seems to fade, a faint amber glow appears in the distance, hovering steadily, then slowly, almost imperceptibly, beginning to move. It beckons, a silent promise of direction. The traveler, wary yet desperate, follows, his footsteps drawn by this inexplicable light, until he finds himself, as if by magic, at the edge of his own village, or perhaps even at the very threshold of his home. Such stories are woven into the fabric of the land, speaking not only of physical guidance, but also of deeper, more profound revelations. Sometimes the kitsune bee might reveal a hidden spring of pure water in a parched landscape, or illuminate a long-forgotten path to a sacred grove. Even, some say, cast its soft glow upon an ancient relic or a lost document, thus bringing forth a forgotten truth or a valuable discovery. These ethereal lights, therefore, serve as a gentle reminder of the kitsune's subtle influence, a quiet presence in the world that, when benevolence guides its paw, can pierce the deepest darkness, leading mortals not just home, but sometimes to a clearer understanding of the hidden currents that flow beneath the surface of everyday life. A soft, ethereal light in the darkness, indeed, revealing not only the way, but sometimes the very heart of things.
As the fire crackles softly, painting dancing shadows upon the tavern walls, we turn now to the more subtle dance of the kitsune, those moments when their influence, though less overt than a bountiful harvest or a guiding flame, is no less profound. Encounters of quiet fortune and whispered insights. These are the tales of fleeting glimpses, of a reddish-brown flash disappearing into the bamboo grove, or the soft rustle of leaves where no wind blows, leaving behind a curious stillness. Often, it is in the realm of dreams that the kitsune's gentle hand is most felt, a realm where the veil between worlds thins and wisdom can be imparted without a single spoken word. Picture, if you will, a young artisan troubled by a complex design, his mind muddled, his progress stalled. He drifts to sleep, and in the quiet landscape of his slumber, a fox, or perhaps a figure with eyes like a fox's, appears, not speaking but gesturing, subtly rearranging elements, revealing a harmony he had overlooked. He awakens with the solution clear in his mind, a gift, he muses, from a muse beyond the ordinary. Or consider the weary traveler, poised at a crossroads in his life, uncertain which path to take, his heart heavy with indecision. A sudden, vivid dream might show him a glimpse of a future down one road, a future imbued with a quiet contentment, or perhaps a gentle warning of potential pitfalls down another. These aren't prophecies delivered with thunderous pronouncements, but rather soft, suggestive whispers, nudges of perspective that allow the individual to choose their own course with newfound clarity. Such quiet interventions speak volumes of the kitsune's capacity for loyalty and their interest in the well-being of those who have shown them respect or a moment's kindness. They are said to offer perspectives beyond the immediate, a wisdom gleaned from centuries of observing the ebb and flow of human life,
the delicate balance of nature. These gentle warnings might manifest as a sudden, inexplicable sense of unease that prevents someone from taking a particular journey, only for news to arrive later of a landslide on that very route. Or a fleeting image, a flash of insight that guides an individual to reconsider a hasty decision, leading them instead to a more advantageous or peaceful outcome. These are the stories that remind us that the world is alive with subtle forces, and that sometimes the most powerful guidance comes not from loud declarations, but from the softest touch, a quiet suggestion from a spirit attuned to the deeper currents of fate, guiding individuals towards better paths in the softest possible way. Let us pause for a moment now, by the hearth where the flames dance and chase away the chill, allowing our cups to be refilled, the amber liquid glinting in the firelight as the wood smoke curls gently towards the rafters. The wind still sighs outside, a lonesome sound against the warm murmur of conversation. But here, within these stout walls, we are safe, gathered in the soft embrace of shared tales. We have, perhaps, lingered a while on the kinder manifestations of the Kitsune, those moments when their subtle influence has woven threads of good fortune into human lives, guiding the lost or enriching the humble farmer with a thousandfold harvest. It is a comforting aspect of their lore, to be sure, a testament to the belief that benevolence, even from the unseen world, can uplift and protect. Indeed, many cultures, if you delve into the deep currents of global folklore, speak of similar spirits of the wild, creatures both animal and ethereal, guardians of nature, who, if treated with respect, might offer blessings in return. Yet, as the shadows deepen just a fraction further in the corners of our old tavern, and the light from the oil lamps seems to draw us in closer, the journey into the heart of the Kitsune's story often turns from mere curiosity to a more profound closeness, revealing details that deepen our understanding, suggesting a complexity that extends beyond simple generosity. For while they are capable of such profound kindness, the Kitsune are also creatures of immense power, their intelligence sharp, their wills strong, and their nature, like the wild forests they inhabit, capable of both sublime beauty and a certain unpredictable wildness. The very ability to shapeshift, to walk between the animal and human worlds, speaks of a fluidity of identity, a mastery of illusion that, while often used for good, can also, under different circumstances, serve intentions far more mischievous, or, indeed, entirely otherworldly. The quiet, gentle insights they offer are but one facet of a multifaceted spirit, and it is here, in this hearthside moment, that we acknowledge the threshold we stand upon. The stories we have shared thus far offer a glimpse into their protective side, but as we continue, we shall find that the path of the Kitsune is often adorned with shadows as intricate as their benevolent glows, revealing a tapestry of influence far richer and more nuanced than a single thread of kindness could suggest. Leave a note in the ledger and drop by when the lanterns glow again. Having spent some time reflecting on the kinder aspects of these fox spirits, allowing the warmth of their benevolent tales to settle in our hearts, we now turn our gaze to another, equally fascinating facet of their nature, the spirited, often whimsical, laughter of the playful trickster. For while the Kitsune are capable of profound generosity, they are also creatures of immense intellect and a boundless, often mischievous sense of humor, delighting in amusing illusions and harmless pranks that test the wits and patience of those they encounter. Picture, if you will, a lonely traveler on a moonlit road, convinced he sees his familiar village lanterns just ahead, only to follow their tantalizing glow deeper into a thicket of bamboo, realizing too late that the lights dance just beyond his reach, a phantom guide leading him on a merry chase. Or perhaps a merchant, boasting of his shrewdness in the bustling marketplace, suddenly finds his most prized wares replaced by mundane stones or vibrant autumn leaves, only to have them reappear moments later, precisely where he left them, leaving him to question his own sanity and the keenness of his eyes. These are not acts of malice, the old tales insist, but rather a playful teasing, a reminder to humanity not to take itself too seriously, nor to forget the magic that still lingers in the world. Sometimes a kitsune might adopt the guise of a beautiful woman or a handsome man, engaging in witty banter, sharing a drink at a wayside inn, only to vanish at the first blush of dawn, leaving behind a bewildered individual with naught but a lingering scent of wild ginger and a tale of an enchanting yet elusive encounter. There are whispers of travelers finding their boots reversed, their hats swapped with a stranger's, or hearing their own name called from an empty forest, all the work of a fox spirit with time on its paws and a twinkle in its eye. These antics, while sometimes disorienting, are rarely harmful, often serving to inject a moment of wonder, or perhaps a lesson in humility, into an otherwise predictable life. The sheer ingenuity of their deceptions, their ability to weave illusion with such masterful subtlety, speaks to their deep connection to the ethereal, their ability to bend reality just enough to provoke a smile, a gasp of surprise, or a hearty laugh from the very human they chose to entertain. Their pranks are, in essence, a sophisticated game, a dance between two worlds, reminding us that the boundaries are often softer, more porous than we believe. As we venture further into these delightful deceptions, let us remember the importance of a light heart and an open mind, for it is often when we are least prepared that the kitsune chooses to reveal its more playful side. Leave a note in the ledger and drop by when the lanterns glow again.
Let us now delve deeper into the playful heart of the kitsune, those moments when their magic, subtle yet profound, weaves illusions that dance between reality and dream, often for the sheer delight of a memorable jest or to impart a gentle lesson in perception. Imagine a scholar, perhaps, returning home late from a distant village, his mind still absorbed in ancient scrolls, his lantern casting short, wavering shadows before him. The night is quiet, save for the rustle of leaves, until a curious sight unfolds before his eyes. What appears to be a grand procession, a daimyo and his retinue, perhaps, with vibrant banners and the soft murmur of many voices, seems to emerge from the mists ahead. He steps respectfully aside, bowing low, waiting for the entourage to pass, only to find the sounds and sights fade as swiftly as they appeared, leaving him alone once more on the silent road, the air heavy with the scent of wild foxglove and a faint bell-like tinkle of unseen laughter. He might shake his head, attributing it to tiredness or the tricks of moonlight, but the tale says it was a kitsune, observing his scholarly diligence, deciding to offer a momentary, harmless diversion, a whisper of the extraordinary in his otherwise ordered world. Another wanderer, perhaps a young aspiring artist, might find himself drawn by a dazzling display of lights in a seemingly empty meadow, a banquet laid out with shimmering silks and an array of delicacies, ethereal figures dancing in the soft glow. He approaches, mesmerized, perhaps even attempts to partake in the feast, only for the entire scene to dissolve into dew-laden grass and the chirping of crickets, leaving him with an empty stomach but a heart full of wonder and perhaps a new source of inspiration for his art. These elaborate deceptions are a hallmark of the kitsune's mastery over illusion, often crafted not to deceive with malice, but to enchant, to playfully challenge the boundaries of what is real, reminding humanity that the world holds more than meets the eye. They are, in a way, tests of wit, gentle provocations designed to awaken a sense of awe or even a dash of healthy skepticism, ensuring that life never becomes too mundane. The subtle shift in the air, the faint sweet scent, the briefest flicker of an impossible light, these are the signatures of their presence, leaving behind not harm, but a story to be told, a moment of profound, if ephemeral, magic. Such encounters teach us that perception is a delicate thing, easily swayed, and that sometimes the greatest truths are revealed not in plain sight, but through the veils of delightful illusion, leaving us to ponder the world's deeper mysteries long after the fox has faded back into the shadows. Leave a note in the ledger and drop by when the lanterns glow again. With the tavern's warmth wrapping around us like a comforting cloak, and the scent of seasoned wood mingling with the quiet murmur of shared stories, we turn our gaze now to a different, yet equally instructive aspect of the kitsune's intricate nature. Their subtle, often poetic methods of correcting the imbalance wrought by human avarice. While their mischief can be a playful jape, a simple test of wits, there are times when their cunning wiles are employed with a specific moral purpose, to subtly punish those driven by greed or selfishness, guiding them not with harsh retribution, but with a gentle, often humbling hand towards reflection. Consider the tale of a particularly grasping village headman whose fields lay next to a communal stream, yet he always diverted more than his fair share of water, leaving his neighbors' crops parched, his heart deaf to their pleas. One sweltering summer, when the drought was most severe and his neighbors despaired, the headman rose early, intent on further fortifying his private channels. As he approached the stream in the pre-dawn gloom, a small fox darted across his path, and in his pursuit, for he despised any wild creature on his land, he stumbled, falling headlong into a murky section of the stream, emerging soaked, disoriented, and utterly convinced he'd seen a vision of his own ruined crops. He scrambled out, shaking, only to find his carefully built channels had mysteriously collapsed, diverting the water freely to all. He spent the rest of the day rebuilding, but each time the channels would crumble overnight, until in sheer exhaustion and perhaps a touch of fear, he gave up, allowing the water to flow equitably. Or take the legend of the miserly merchant who hoarded his grain during lean times, demanding exorbitant prices from the starving. One night, a voice, soft as rustling leaves, yet clear as a bell, whispered to him of a hidden treasure beneath a gnarled old pine on his property. Driven by insatiable greed, the merchant spent the entire night digging, his hands raw, his back aching, unearthing nothing but roots and stones, while the villagers, unbeknownst to him, mysteriously found small bags of grain on their doorsteps, enough to sustain them through the crisis. By dawn, the merchant was left with nothing but a vast, pointless hole in his garden, utterly exhausted, and the quiet, distant echo of a fox's laughter carried on the wind, a lesson delivered not with violence or direct confrontation, but with a series of frustrating, humbling illusions. These tales, whispered by the firelight, serve as reminders that the Kitsune, with their ancient wisdom, understand the delicate balance of kindness and consequence, using their powers not to inflict suffering, but to subtly prod the human heart towards humility and a deeper appreciation for the communal good, teaching with a gentle yet unforgettable touch. as the firelight flickers and paints dancing patterns across the ancient wood of our tavern. We have explored the kitsune's delight in charming mischief, those playful illusions that stir a sense of wonder, or perhaps a gentle bewilderment in the hearts of unsuspecting mortals. Yet, even the most artful deception, spun with all the magic of a fox spirit, can sometimes be seen through, not by force or confrontation, but by the quiet wisdom of an astute mind, or the pure, unclouded perception of an innocent heart. A moment of unmasking a false face that often brings not anger, but a quiet, shared understanding. Imagine, if you will, a bustling village festival, alive with the sound of flutes and drums, vibrant lanterns swaying in the evening breeze. Among the throng, a stranger appears, a figure of striking beauty and charisma, drawing all eyes. His laughter bright, his stories captivating. Everyone is enchanted, captivated by his charm, convinced he is a renowned scholar or a wandering poet of great renown. Yet, in the quiet corner of the square, an old basket weaver, her hands gnarled with years of patient work, watches with a gentle smile. She notices small things, a fleeting flicker in his eyes that is too bright, too quick, a shadow that seems to detach itself for a moment when he moves too swiftly, the faint, earthy scent of damp leaves that no human could carry. She says nothing, merely observes. Later, as the festivities wane and the stranger prepares to depart, she approaches him, not with accusation, but with a simple, knowing glance. "You are a lively spirit," she murmurs, her voice soft as the rustle of dry grass. "And your stories have indeed brought much joy to our festival." The stranger, for a moment, falters, his smile losing a touch of its practiced perfection. He looks into her kind, unblinking eyes, and in that shared glance, a silent acknowledgement passes between them. The illusion, though masterfully crafted, has been seen. He offers a slight, almost imperceptible bow, a gesture of respect, and then, with a subtle shift of the air, he is gone, leaving behind only the lingering scent of wild ginger and the quiet, knowing smile on the old woman's face. There is no triumph in her gaze, no fear, only a profound, almost tender understanding of the fleeting magic that had graced their village. Similarly, a small child, unburdened by the complexities of adult perception, might point a tiny finger and declare, "Look, Mama, the beautiful lady has a tail," only for the illusion to ripple, momentarily revealing the fox beneath before snapping back into place, a moment of startling truth that quickly fades, leaving the adults to dismiss it as childish fancy. These unmaskings, these gentle revelations, remind us that while the kitsune's trickery is indeed clever, it is not always impenetrable, and that sometimes the simplest, purest gaze can pierce the most elaborate of illusions, offering a moment of quiet insight into the wondrous, shape-shifting world that moves unseen around us. As the firelight deepens and casts its warm embrace across the faces gathered here, our journey into the wondrous world of the Kitsune leads us to their most iconic and perhaps most captivating ability, the art of shape-shifting, a power that allows them to slip between their foxy forms and the guise of humanity with breathtaking grace. This is the heart of their mystery, the source of countless tales of enchantment and intrigue. For it is in these human manifestations that the Kitsune truly blur the lines between the wild and the civilized, the spiritual and the mundane. Most often, the legends tell of Kitsune transforming into figures of striking allure, beautiful women whose elegance is matched only by the depth of their captivating eyes,
their laughter like distant wind chimes, their movements as fluid as the forest stream. These are the maidens who appear at moonlit festivals, or perhaps in the quiet solitude of a mountain path, drawing the gaze of all who behold them, their presence a soft, ethereal glow against the backdrop of the human world. They might seek companionship, a tender romance, or simply observe humanity with a detached curiosity, their true nature hidden beneath a flawless facade. But their transformations are not limited to youthful beauty. Sometimes a kitsune chooses the venerable form of a wise elder, a sage with eyes that hold the wisdom of centuries, their words laden with ancient knowledge and subtle counsel. These are the figures who might appear to a troubled lord, offering astute advice that averts disaster, or to a desperate farmer, whispering the secret to a bountiful harvest, always with an air of profound serenity and an almost otherworldly insight. The allure of these human manifestations lies not just in their physical perfection or their profound wisdom, but in the inherent mystery of their true identity, the knowledge that beneath the skin of a captivating lover or a revered mentor beats the heart of a wild, ancient fox spirit. They move through human society with an uncanny ease, blending seamlessly, attending tea ceremonies, engaging in scholarly debates, or perhaps even residing within a household for years, their dual nature remaining their most closely guarded secret. It is said that their transformations are not mere costume changes, but an intrinsic bending of reality, a magical feat that allows them to inhabit the very essence of their chosen form, making them almost indistinguishable from true humans, save for perhaps a telltale shadow, a subtle flicker in the eye, or a faint, lingering scent of the forest that only the most perceptive might notice. This ability to move gracefully between worlds, to exist simultaneously as animal and human, makes the kitsune not merely tricksters or benevolent spirits, but true masters of existence, embodying the fluid, ever-changing nature of the world itself, perpetually dancing on the edge of what is known and what remains forever, wonderfully, mysteriously wild.
As the gentle glow of our hearth continues to ward off the encroaching chill of the night, our thoughts now turn to perhaps the most poignant and delicate of all kitsune legends, the tales of romance across worlds, where the shape-shifting fox spirit, in its human guise, allows its heart to be touched by mortal affection. These are not always stories of grand pronouncements, but often bittersweet narratives of quiet affection and profound longing, exploring the joys and the inevitable, gentle heartbreaks of unions that bridge the realms of the wild and the human. Imagine a young woodcutter, weary from his labors, who regularly leaves a small offering of rice cakes or sweet fruit at the base of an ancient camphor tree on his way home. One day, he encounters a beautiful woman near the tree, her eyes shimmering like dew-kissed leaves, her voice soft as a distant melody. They speak, they laugh, and over time, a tender affection blossoms between them, a love as pure and unassuming as the mountain stream. He knows nothing of her true nature, only the warmth of her hand in his, the comfort of her presence. Or perhaps consider a lonely scholar, spending his days in quiet contemplation, when a wise, ethereal figure begins to visit his garden at dusk, sharing profound insights and comforting words, filling the emptiness in his life with intellectual companionship and a deep, unspoken bond. In these unions, the kitsune often dedicates itself with an intensity that can sometimes overshadow human passion, a fierce loyalty born of their ancient, deep-rooted spirits. They adapt to human ways, learning customs and language, often becoming cherished spouses, parents, or trusted companions,
their true form a carefully guarded secret, a vulnerability they expose only to the most beloved. The joy in these stories is palpable, the laughter shared, the quiet comfort found in another's embrace, the building of a life together, however ephemeral it might be. Yet underlying this joy is often the subtle thrum of melancholy, the awareness that such a bridge between worlds can be fragile. There comes a moment in many of these tales when the fox's true nature is inadvertently revealed, perhaps a shadow cast strangely, a fleeting glimpse of fur or a tail, or a sudden, irresistible urge to chase a rabbit in the moonlit field. Sometimes it is the smell of a dog or a moment of carelessness that breaks the carefully woven illusion. This revelation, though often without malice on either side, signals the inevitable parting. The human, confronted with the wondrous, terrifying truth, is often left with a profound sense of loss, a longing for a love that existed just beyond the confines of their understanding. The Kitsune, too, departs with a heavy heart, leaving behind not only a loved one, but sometimes a child, a hafu, born of both worlds, carrying the legacy of their parents' extraordinary romance. These stories, though tinged with sadness, speak to the enduring power of love that transcends even the boundaries of species, reminding us that true connection can flourish in the most unexpected places, leaving behind a legacy of poignant beauty and a lingering wonder about the love that bridges human and spirit forever. It's a testament to the profound emotional depth woven into the fabric of these ancient Japanese tales, truly a bridge between realms built of the heart itself.
As the last vestiges of our shared journey into the enchanting world of the Kitsune settle around us, much like the final embers of a roaring fire glowing softly in the hearth, we find ourselves contemplating the profound and enduring presence these shape-shifting fox spirits hold within the very heart of Japanese folklore. Their tales, whether spun with threads of profound benevolence or sparkling with mischievous cunning, have not simply been ephemeral stories told by firelight. They have in fact intricately woven themselves into the very fabric of Japanese cultural identity, echoing through generations and resonating with an astonishing vitality in contemporary storytelling even to this day. From the earliest yokai texts, meticulously transcribed by diligent scholars, to the hushed whispers passed down from grandparent to child in humble village homes, the Kitsune have always occupied a unique, almost sacred space. They embody the wild, untamed spirit of nature, a reflection of the forests and mountains that cradled early Japanese civilization. Yet simultaneously, they offer a bridge to the unseen, a tantalizing glimpse into a world brimming with magic and mystery that exists just beyond the mundane. We see their influence manifest in the stoic guardian statues at Shinto shrines, where their images, sometimes depicted with multiple tails, stand as silent protectors, symbols of fertility and prosperity. Their narratives are not confined to ancient scrolls. They leap from the pages of classic literature, dance across the stages of traditional theater, and even flicker across modern screens in anime, manga, and video games, captivating new audiences with their timeless allure. The enduring appeal of the Kitsune, their persistent grip on the human imagination, reflects a deeper, perhaps universal, fascination we hold with the natural world and the enigmatic forces that shape our existence. It speaks to our innate human desire to find meaning and wonder in the rustle of leaves, the eerie glow of foxfire in the distant woods, or the unexpected twist of fate that seems to defy explanation.
They personify the unpredictable nature of luck, the delicate balance between good and ill fortune, and the profound wisdom that can sometimes be found in the most unexpected of guises. Whether they are granting a farmer an impossible harvest, playfully leading a boastful merchant astray, inspiring a tender romance across realms, or delivering a subtle, humbling lesson in humility, the Kitsune remain a potent symbol of nature's power, its cunning, and its inherent wisdom. Their legends encourage us to look beyond the obvious, to question what we perceive, and to acknowledge the vibrant, living spirit that imbues the world around us. And so, as these stories continue to be told, adapting and evolving with each passing era, the Kitsune continue their graceful dance through the Japanese consciousness, a beautiful, ethereal testament to the timeless human fascination with nature's hidden wonders and the captivating magic that always, always lingers just beyond our sight.
As the fire in our hearth settles into a deep, comforting glow, and the last notes of our Kitsune tales echo softly in the quiet air of the Moonlit Tavern, we are left to ponder the remarkable journey of these shape-shifting fox spirits, whose presence, far from fading into the mists of forgotten folklore, continues to cast a shimmering, vibrant light across the vast landscape of modern Japanese imagination, and, indeed, far beyond its shores. Their enduring legacy is not merely preserved in ancient texts or whispered legends, but flourishes, dynamic and ever-evolving, from the intricate brushstrokes of traditional arts to the bustling digital realms of popular culture. You see, the Kitsune, with their captivating blend of benevolence and mischief, their profound wisdom and playful cunning, have proven to be an inexhaustible wellspring of inspiration for artists, writers, and storytellers throughout the centuries. They appear on elegant ukiyo-e prints, their 9 tails swirling with an ethereal grace. They masks in the vibrant movements of No and Kabuki theater, embodying both the sacred and the profane. And their likeness is lovingly carved into the protective wooden figures that adorn many a village shrine. But their journey does not end there. These ancient spirits have effortlessly leaped into the contemporary consciousness, finding new life in the vivid pages of manga, the sprawling narratives of popular anime, and the immersive worlds of video games that captivate millions across the globe. From heroic companions to enigmatic mentors, from tricksters with a hidden agenda to figures of tragic romance, the Kitsune's multifaceted nature allows them to inhabit countless roles, adapting to new narratives while retaining their quintessential charm. This enduring appeal, this timeless ability to inspire new stories and fresh interpretations, is a testament to the Kitsune's profound connection to fundamental human fascinations. Our wonder at the natural world, our eternal quest for the unseen, and our deep-seated desire to believe in magic that permeates the mundane. They remind us that the boundaries between the human and the spiritual, the real and the imagined, are far more fluid than we often perceive, and that within the heart of the wild, in the shadow of a moonlit shrine, a creature of boundless spirit and endless tales might still roam. Their quiet whispers, their guiding lights, their playful deceptions, and their poignant romances continue to resonate because they speak to universal truths about nature, fate, and the complex tapestry of existence itself. And so, the spirit of the Kitsune, forever shape-shifting, forever inspiring, dances on, a beautiful and eternal echo in the modern imagination, reminding us that some stories are simply too enchanting, too deeply woven into the human spirit to ever truly fade away. As the embers of our storytelling settle into a soft, murmuring glow, casting long, dancing shadows across the welcoming walls of our moonlit tavern,
and the last notes of our Kitsune tales whisper into the quiet air. A thought, both wistful and wondrous, often takes hold. Do these shape-shifting fox spirits still roam? Do they still tread lightly through the twilight forests, their 9 tails, or perhaps just one, flickering unseen amidst the ancient camphor trees and rustling bamboo groves of Japan? One cannot help but ponder if their ethereal forms, once so woven into the very fabric of daily life, still linger on the periphery of our modern world, a subtle breath of magic in the everyday. Perhaps in the hush before dawn breaks over a quiet village, a solitary figure with eyes too knowing, too bright, slips silently away from a shrine gate, its true form momentarily glimpsed in the silvered light, before melting back into the natural world from whence it came. We have journeyed through their benevolence, seen their playful mischief, and understood the poignant complexities of their loves. Yet the most profound question that remains is not if they existed, but do they? Indeed, the very heart of Shinto, that ancient spiritual path so deeply interwoven with the land and its myriad forces, reminds us that belief in kami, in spirits inhabiting the natural world, remains a vibrant and deeply cherished part of modern Japan, a foundational understanding that the world is alive with unseen presences. Perhaps a sudden, inexplicable sense of peace that descends upon a weary traveler lost in a dense mountain fog, guiding them unexpectedly to safety, is not merely coincidence, but the gentle touch of a kitsune's unseen paw. Or the unexpected solution to a long vexing problem, appearing in a dream with the clarity of a moonbeam, might be a whisper of insight from an ancient fox spirit, still attuned to the currents of human thought and emotion. These are not merely relics of a bygone era. They are archetypes that speak to our persistent human longing for wonder, for the knowledge that there is more to the world than what our eyes can readily perceive. To imagine that the Kitsune, those elegant masters of illusion and profound wisdom, continue their silent roamings through the twilight forests and quiet villages, even amidst the hum of modern life, is to hold on to a comforting thought, a belief that magic has not entirely departed from our world, but simply learned to move with even greater subtlety. Their potential presence, a whisper of wildness and spiritual depth, reminds us that the world remains enchanted, full of hidden pathways and unseen guardians, forever inviting us to look a little closer, listen a little more intently, and allow ourselves to believe in the enduring magic that always lingers just beyond our sight, a timeless promise carried on the wind through ancient trees. This lingering thought, this gentle wonder, is perhaps the greatest gift of their tales, the enduring hope that magic still weaves its way through our lives, even when we are too busy to notice its delicate threads.
As the last of our Kitsune tales gracefully recedes into the quiet hum of our tavern, leaving only the warmth of the hearth and the lingering scent of wood smoke, we find ourselves at a moment of gentle reflection, pondering the profound lessons and quiet wonder these shape-shifting fox spirits impart. Their stories, like the rustle of unseen leaves in a moonlit forest, remind us that the world is a delicate tapestry, intricately woven with threads of both light and shadow, where every action, every kindness, and every act of selfishness carries with it an echo, a subtle consequence that ripples through the unseen realms. From the bountiful harvests granted to a compassionate farmer, to the humbling illusions cast upon the greedy, the Kitsune's narrative arc consistently speaks to a fundamental truth.
The intricate balance of nature, both human and wild, demands respect and a conscious awareness of our place within it. They teach us that true wealth lies not in accumulation, but in generosity of spirit, that true wisdom comes not from grand pronouncements, but from quiet observation and an open heart. These ancient beings, with their fluid forms and piercing intellect, serve as ethereal guardians of that balance, their actions often mirroring the very essence of karma, gently nudging humanity towards a deeper understanding of interconnection. Furthermore, the magic hidden in plain sight, a core theme woven throughout these narratives, encourages a quiet contemplation of the world around us. It bids us to look beyond the ordinary, to listen for the whispers carried on the wind, and to consider the possibility that enchantment is not a distant mythical concept, but a living, breathing presence just beyond our everyday perception. The Kitsune bee, those dancing foxfires, may no longer light our physical paths as they once did for lost travelers, yet their metaphorical glow continues to illuminate the hidden truths and wonders that lie beneath the surface of the mundane. They beckon us to embrace a healthy skepticism of our own assumptions, to revel in the unexpected, and to cultivate a profound respect for the natural world, its mysteries, its cunning, and its inherent untamed wisdom. Perhaps, as we step back into the night, the image of a nine-tailed fox glowing ethereally beneath a Shinto shrine will linger in our minds, a beautiful reminder that the spiritual and the physical are never truly separate. The lessons they offer are not harsh warnings, but gentle invitations to live with greater awareness, to recognize the sacred in the commonplace, and to cherish the delicate equilibrium between humanity and the wild, ensuring that the magic, both seen and unseen, continues to thrive. Rest well, traveler. The next telling waits on Mondays at 4 p.m. EST and Fridays at 3 p.m. EST.
And so, as the very last embers in our Moonlit Tavern hearth settle into a soft, sleepy whisper, casting a final, intimate glow across your faces, our journey through the enchanting and intricate world of the Kitsune draws to its gentle close. A collection of tales that have, for a time, transported us beyond these sturdy walls and into the twilight forests and bustling marketplaces of ancient Japan. It has been a pleasure, a privilege even, to share these stories with you, weary travelers, as the night outside has deepened and the stars have wheeled silently overhead. We have spoken of the Kitsune's profound benevolence, of their generous blessings that brought forth thousand-fold harvests and guided lost souls through the deepest fogs, reminding us that acts of human kindness are often seen and remembered by forces far beyond our immediate understanding. Then we dipped our toes into the playful currents of their mischievous antics, those harmless allusions and clever jests that served not to harm, but to challenge our perceptions, to inject a dash of delightful wonder and perhaps a touch of humility into the rhythms of everyday life. We even dared to explore the tender, often bittersweet narratives of their love, those poignant romances that dared to bridge the very divide between human and spirit, leaving behind legacies of beauty and quiet longing. And finally, we pondered their enduring presence, how these shape-shifting spirits, whether fact or cherished fable, continue to dance through the heart of Japanese culture, from the revered statues at Shinto shrines to the vibrant screens of modern animation, proving that some magic, some wonder, is simply too vital, too deeply woven into our collective human spirit to ever truly fade away. What has been told here tonight is a tapestry woven from whispers and ancient scrolls, from the collective imagination of a people deeply attuned to the unseen world. Stories that offer not dire warnings, but gentle lessons,
quiet insights into the balance of nature, the consequences of our actions, and the magic that always, always hides in plain sight, waiting for an open heart to perceive it. It is not for me to say what you should believe, only to offer the tales, to stir the imagination, and to remind you that the world remains a place of profound beauty and endless mystery, even in the quietest corners. So now, as the hour grows late and the road awaits, take with you the warmth of this fire, the comfort of these shared moments, and perhaps a renewed sense of wonder for the world's hidden depths. May your own journey be filled with quiet fortunes and gentle guidance, and may you always carry an open heart, ready to perceive the magic that still, undoubtedly, roams the wild places and the quiet spaces in between. Rest well, traveler. The next telling waits on Mondays at 4 p.m. EST and Fridays at 3 p.m. EST.